Chinese government uses economic clout to target Uyghurs living abroad. Recently, the Oxus Society for Central Asian Affairs, or I'm going to call it the OSCAA, documented Beijing's targeting of Uyghur Muslims living abroad. The report stated that more than 1,500 cases of deportations and initial detentions that Beijing orchestrated could be just the tip of the iceberg. More than 28 countries are found to be complicit at some point in the systematic surveillance, detention, and eventual deportation of Uyghurs living in these countries. The mechanism in which Beijing exerts pressure on countries hosting Uyghurs has been mainly through its economic diplomacy and financial stress. China offers infrastructure packages and other financial aids in exchange for the freedom to persecute Uyghurs living in other countries. The report calls stopping this transnational repression a moral imperative and is, quote, crucial to maintaining state sovereignty and the integrity of international organizations like Interpol and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees.
Wait, so what is happening exactly? Can you? These countries are just like there are certain countries that are just sending these Uyghur Muslims, deporting them to China.
Yes, this is a first of its kind report that documents in more detail than we've seen before an international campaign of repression against Uyghurs from traditionally from the Xinjiang or East Turkestan region. So, you know, we talk about the persecutions the Uyghur Muslims, and it's not just Uyghurs, it's also Kazakh and other ethnic minorities, but that typically practice Islam. What they face, the persecution they face in East Turkestan, in Xinjiang, within the borders of China. Well, this report takes that way farther. It talks about how China is implementing a transnational campaign to pull Uyghurs from around the world back within its borders, back within its control.
By pressuring the government. So basically your China is basically a nightmare that exists even when you leave China.
Yes.
So if you're a Uyghur Muslim, if this shadow, this like evil shadow follows you beyond the borders of China. And basically, is China doing that by pressuring certain governments that it has a lot of influence on? Like, for example, I'm assuming Pakistan, right?
Pakistan is a big one.
I heard even Turkey does that. This is amazing because Turkey
was part of this report.
Wow. So Turkey, the country that was like pretending to care about Muslims so much that they were like the leading country that was standing against China's oppression of Uyghur Muslims, is actually bending the knee to Chinese pressure when it comes to deporting Uyghur Muslims back to China. Like the doublespeak from Turkey's government is so hypocritical. Like I can't even. Okay, guys, the severity of this is like imagine if like during World War II, right? Jewish people who were like had left Germany and they were in the United States. Imagine if the United States were like deporting Jews back to Germany, okay? To Germany. Like this is so insane. But it's not getting the attention that it deserves. Which countries are doing this? Do you know the list of countries, or they need to be shown?
Well, there's at least 28 countries. Pakistan is a big one. Turkey, India.
Wow.
This looks like Malaysia, Cambodia, all of the countries that border China on the west.
Is Iran among them? Qasim is asking.
Let me look at the most recent. Sorry, in the report they show these countries by phases. It doesn't look like Iran is on here. Russia is involved. I think this country is Kazakhstan. Italy, Morocco.
Guys, we're talking Muslim countries. Okay, so we have an atheist, tyrannical atheist regime. Okay, that is oppressing Muslims, putting them in concentration camps by the millions, right? And then these Muslims run away. They get out of China for safety to other Muslim countries. Okay, and then you have Muslim regimes catching Muslims in their own countries and deporting them to an atheist government that is oppressing Muslims. And I don't know what to say. What? You have your hand up.
What's so bad about Turkey's specific actions recently is that it basically comes in exchange for medical supplies related to what goes in your arm. I'm not going to talk about it because of the strike we got before, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
Great. By the way, if this video gets a strike, I don't know what to do anymore, right? Guys, we are on the side of the oppressed. Concentration camps are bad. We're against the CCP and all of that. Like, I don't know if this video gets a strike because we're mentioning the oppression of Muslims and YouTube cannot understand which side we are on. Like, I don't know what to do anymore, right? Like, we're being as careful as possible, right? We are on the side of the oppressed against the oppressors, but YouTube might give us a strike for a video like this, just like they did with our other videos, even though we were on the right side. And then when you appeal it for somebody to look at, we're actually on the side of the oppressor, like on the oppressed. The appeal will get rejected in less than a few minutes, less than 5 minutes actually. So like, I don't like if this video gets a strike, honestly, like, I don't know, like, we don't know what to do anymore. Like, we probably
What's worse with Turkey's situation is that they just recently in December 2020 signed an extradition treaty with China. Like within the past few months, within the past year.
Secular Rarity is saying it's absolutely absurd that the world has not come together to stop the genocide in China right now. Yeah, China is way too influential everywhere to be able for countries to,
That's a lot of what this report is talking about, is like there needs to be, they call for three specific things. To counteract China's global repression, the Oxus Society and the Uyghur Human Rights Project recommend the following: strengthen refugee resettlement programs by increasing quotas and streamlining procedures to allow Uyghurs to leave third countries collaborating with China. So basically what they're saying is that even the Uyghurs outside of China, even if they're in a different country right now, we need to bring them to a third country that can actually protect them, because where they are isn't safe enough, and we need to streamline that process. Like, even if they're already residing outside of China, we still need to consider them refugees and get them to a state that isn't collaborating. 2, restrict the export of surveillance technology that can be used to monitor vulnerable communities without due process of law. There are, for instance, in Pakistan, there are situations where the surveillance state of China is extending into Pakistan to target Uyghur people, including like trying to collect their biometric data. And 3, increase accountability by raising the cost of embarking on campaigns of transnational repression. That's going to obviously be the most difficult to accomplish. This talks about in length the evolution of China's campaign of repression, how it's shifted its emphasis from Central and South Asia and Southeast Asia to the Middle East. And now the Middle East is becoming increasingly more involved in the extradition of Uyghurs. There's been a huge uptick in these deportations in 2017. But this report actually begins all the way in 1997, and it documents phases of China increasing its repression abroad, and the most severe uptick being between 2018 to the current day is when it's just really ramped up to a different level. But On a different note, I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about, like, why is China doing this? And this is speculation on my part, but because I was thinking, if the Uyghurs are forced into exile and they have to leave China, that is accomplishing China's goal of demographic engineering and shifting, right? So, like, why would they want to still persecute these people who are living abroad? Because they're gone from where they want them to be gone from, right? And so I was thinking, maybe they want them back within China's borders so that they can't get out and talk about what's going on. So they're still under their control, even though technically them being outside their borders would aid them more. Or if it is because this need to pull them back into China's borders and more firmly under their jurisdiction just to persecute them so severely in the many forms that we've talked about before on this channel, like that gives me so much more of like a real ethnic hatred than just wanting to move people around because it's inconvenient for their state plans. Like, I don't know, Armin, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually don't know. Seems a lot of effort. I think like it's about sending a message and making sure that you understand that there's no safety to discourage other people from doing so. Just like compliance is the only way, right? Like making it clear. Another thing I've seen a documentary on, I forgot where, was the way your family is treated. Like there's no running away from China, because if you are being attacked by the CCP and you leave China, then guess what? You have family. You can't. There's no way you can take in your entire family. If you take with you, that's if you take one of your close families with you, well, they have family. Like they're gonna make sure you feel guilty for leaving them behind. Like people that had nothing to do with your activism or whatever, if you got in trouble for saying something or doing something or being somebody that the Chinese government doesn't like, and you run away, the Chinese government wants you to know that you have condemned the people that you love that had nothing to do with you. Now they are now at risk of a world of pain and misery. So congratulations, you managed to get away. But did you really? Because we will make sure that you're not able to sleep sound at night knowing what we could do to the people you love. Like this is pure evil. Yep, Suze?
Well, that part of this report that's very interesting is that it talks exactly about this and how this international connection that the Uyghur diaspora faces is actually dangerous on both sides. Because if you're in one of these states that's collaborating with China, having connections to China is a red flag. If you're in China, having connections abroad is a red flag. So it cuts both ways. Secular Rarity saying it isn't just about, quote, stabilizing a country. It's about erasing a group of people, a culture, a language. And I think this report really underlines that for me, because if it was about stabilizing a country, like, why would it matter that this ethnic group from this one region of China has citizens abroad? Like, when the Chinese government is saying that all of these concentration camps are actually just education facilities and they're teaching rural people new job skills to compete in a global market. Well, if that's the case, what's with these like at least 1,500 documented cases of deportation and extradition since 1997? Like, what would be the purpose of that? How is that relevant to your project, in your so-called project in the region? That doesn't make sense to me.
All right. But okay, here the thing is that this culture, this language, this group of people, it will always be the CP will always see it as a rallying cry, as an identity where people could get around to question its authority, right? So it goes back to ancient times. For example, like when you have a group of people that have a history of opposing you, then you just want to erase everything that unites those people as a group of people, whatever whatever identity that they have that sets you apart as the rest of China, that might give them an excuse for them to identify each other and unite with each other against you. That's what you want to erase. Okay, so this is the reason why China will see, like, if everybody is alike and everybody is the same, I don't know, identity, ethnically, religiously, everything, then there's no way for you to have a flag. Hey guys, let's reunite this around this. There's no other center of authority or any group other than the umbrella that is CCP. Basically, that's they want to make everything completely homogenous. That's what they want, right? Especially when it comes to Uyghur Muslims, this is very important to them to do this, because they are at a very key geographical place in on China's. If you look at China's map, the vision that China has when it comes to dominating the planet, at least in that area, has a lot to do with the Silk Road initiative that they have, that is going to go through, I don't know, Pakistan and Iran and everything. And that whole project goes through the Xinjiang province, right? If they don't have absolute control over that area, a lot of their plans, are the stability is, increased stability in that area and control over that area will reduce the flexibility and the risk associated with investment in Chinese project, and the reduced risk will increase the value of this investment. You know what I mean? So if you want to, for example, if you want to come up with a valuation process to see, like, oh, these projects that China is involved with, the people who invest in it, the people who put funds in it, whether internally from China or foreign, when they want to know how to discount the potential future cash flow from these investments, they have to discount it by interest rates, which is correlated to the risk associated with it. And if China has complete control over that, over all of this project, the risk is going to be less, so the interest rate associated with the risk is going to be lower, so the present value of the future cash flow is going to be higher. So this is all goes to basically money and valuation and trade and all of that, right? So this is my understanding. Does that make sense, Suze?
Totally. Very good way of putting this into a broader context for people who aren't aware of that geographical factor. I really suggest you guys go check out this report. So if you are interested, we have all our sources in the description. And this is an article on our site, but the first link on our site is the actual report from this organization. I started reading it. It's really interesting and paints a very broad picture of China's activities in terms of how long it's been going on, the scale, and how they've ramped up this sort of activity to a really startling degree within the past 5 years. Hey guys, if you're a fan of Blasphemy and Sexy Callie, like me, then you need to be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below. Because if you subscribe, we will send you a free copy of our Blasphemous Art ebook. And let me tell you, it is the tastiest blasphemy that you can find anywhere available today. And we are so generous with our blasphemy that we continue to send you more blasphemy every week. So make sure to subscribe, link in the description below.